I'm going to take the bet that if you clicked on today's podcast episode, you are no stranger to limiting beliefs and the fact that they have an unsupportive impact not only on your manifestations, but also on your mental, emotional, and physical health. And I know that my entire life, until working on healing my limiting beliefs, felt like an uphill battle compared to what it is now. And for that reason, today on the No Bullshit Manifestation Show, I want to talk to you about how you can actually heal your limiting beliefs, because I believe that you deserve to feel like you are flowing with your life versus constantly fighting against it. And today on the podcast, I'm going to be giving you a 5-step process that you can take to identify and heal from your limiting beliefs so that you can finally manifest your best life and feel like the best version of yourself. What's up, and welcome to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show, the podcast that demystifies all of the nonsense that surrounds manifestation and gives you a realistic view of what it's like to be on a personal, professional, and spiritual growth journey. I'm your host, Kat Kozad, manifestation and money mindset expert, and I'm so happy you're here. Let's fucking do this thing. Y'all, limiting beliefs can be so sneaky because the reality of them is that they are so subconscious that oftentimes you won't even recognize that you have any limiting beliefs. And prior to my healing journey and doing the inner work, I didn't understand that my limiting beliefs were limiting because they just felt true. So, for example, with this, as a college dropout, I thought that it was just true that I would never be able to get a job that was going to be high paying, because although that felt incredibly limiting, it just felt like the truth to me. Or that I was always going to have to work hard to make money. That is hands down one of the biggest limiting beliefs that I know so many people experience societally. And for so many of us, we don't think of it as a limiting belief. It just feels true because that's what there's been so much evidence of in your life. Or another example could be that you're just not good enough at something. That belief of not being good enough feels true, so therefore you often don't see it as limiting. But the reason that they feel true is because our beliefs are self-fulfilling prophecies. What we declare as true for ourselves is what we will create evidence for. So even if it's something that doesn't serve or support you, you will see it and feel it as true because that is what your brain is hardwired to do. But all of these examples that I've given you and so many more are actually exactly what limiting beliefs are. And like I said, in today's podcast episode, we're going to be breaking that down so that you can understand what your unique limiting beliefs are and how you can actually start to heal from them. Because I can tell you that in my healing journey from these different limiting beliefs that I've had, my life has gotten exponentially better. Because there is a way to remove those limiting beliefs, release those limiting beliefs, eliminate them from your life, and choose new supportive beliefs that are actually going to not only shift your vibration into the place where you're naturally attracting and manifesting more of the things that you want, but also literally create new neural pathways inside of the subconscious mind so that your self-fulfilling prophecies become supportive ones instead of unsupportive ones. So with that being said, what I want to dive into first is a little bit of talk around the subconscious mind and why that's important for understanding and healing your limiting beliefs, because all of our limiting beliefs come from a subconscious place. So while most people believe that they are acting consciously throughout their day-to-day lives, the reality is that you are only conscious about 5% of the time. And this is because the subconscious mind makes up about 95% of the human brain. So the subconscious mind is typically formed between ages 0 to 7 by our parents or primary caregivers, friends, teachers, media, society, etc. And all of these things that you learn during your upbringing from your parents, from your primary caregivers, from all of these different people, you experience either verbally through what they are telling you or what they are saying about their lives, or through what you are witnessing. So you could see somebody doing something that feels limiting or shows that energy of lack. And then also what you feel energetically, meaning how people treat you, as well as how you see people interact with themselves and engage in their lives, and what you're picking up on energetically from that. So a lot of the times when you are being taught about limiting beliefs, you will hear that it's only stories that have been told directly to you or things that you heard your parents or primary caregivers say. That's not true whatsoever. We pick up on our limiting beliefs in multiple different ways, like I said, through what we see, through what we feel, and through what we hear. So all of those different things, they make up your belief system. It's like your brain is a sponge during that age, or it's like your brain is one of those old iPods that you actually had to like upload all of the songs from on your computer, and you get programmed with all of these different beliefs about life and what is true for you. And what I will say is that oftentimes when you, again, hear about the subconscious mind, there can almost be this like negative connotation with it, which isn't true whatsoever, because if it wasn't for the subconscious mind, we wouldn't know how to breathe. We wouldn't know how to move. We wouldn't have all of these automatic responses that we have on a day-to-day basis. But just because your limiting beliefs are subconscious doesn't mean that your subconscious mind is bad. It just means that 95% of your brain is made up by the subconscious, and a fraction of that subconscious space is being made up by these limiting beliefs. But with these different subconscious beliefs, these beliefs that you have about yourself, about your life, about what is true for you, about money, relationships, so on and so forth, those are the things that you will continue to manifest into your life until you take an intentional look at what are those things that aren't actually serving and supporting you, and eliminate them and remove them so that you can actually start to create new neural pathways inside of the subconscious mind that are supportive, and that will then naturally allow you to manifest more of the things that you want into your life, which is exactly what I teach my clients and exactly what we're going to be talking about inside of this podcast episode. So just reiterating one more time, this is so important when it comes to the manifestation process, because when you are manifesting, you are using your thoughts and your subconscious mind to create your reality, because those thoughts and your subconscious beliefs dictate your vibration, which are your beliefs, your behaviors, your habits, and your emotions. And therefore, when you are stuck in unsupportive stories, that means that is going to keep your vibration stuck in an energy in a way that isn't necessarily calling in and manifesting the things that you desire into your life. Whereas when you can remove your limiting beliefs, you are raising your set point of attraction, you are raising your vibration, and by raising your vibration, you are emitting a higher frequency out into the universe, and by the universal law of attraction, attracting back in more like vibrational things that are greater, better, more abundant, more supportive of the life that you're wanting to create for yourself. So working on your limiting beliefs, healing from unsupportive limiting beliefs, and the manifestation process go hand in hand. Does that mean that you can't manifest the things that you want into your life while you still have some limiting beliefs? Absolutely not. We're all always going to be working through some sort of limiting belief or past experience that has led us to believe unfavorable things in our lives. But when you are completely riddled by limiting beliefs, or you are just completely agreeing with your limiting beliefs, then it really does block you energetically from receiving greater, more abundant things. So, like I said at the very beginning of this podcast episode, I'm going to be giving you a 5-step process of how to identify and understand how to eliminate your limiting beliefs, because as a byproduct of that, you will manifest more of the things that you want into your life, as well as feel like a happier, healthier, and wealthier version of yourself, which is exactly what we're all here to do. So before we dive into it, I just want to give you the reminder that the Abundant AF Babe Academy, which is my signature online manifestation program, is currently open for enrollment until November 27th. The Abundant AF Babe Academy was specifically designed to help you manifest more money, freedom, fulfillment, and abundance into your life without the hustle and without the grind. And this is the exact process that I have now helped myself and over 400 women through to manifest their best lives. And everything that we're talking about inside of this podcast episode is what we do on a very, very deep level inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy, because I'm actually there to help you identify what your limiting beliefs are so that you can remove them and release them in a way that shifts your vibration and helps you manifest more of the money, love, support, abundance, freedom, and fulfillment that you want. So if you are starting to think about how you can make 2024 different than 2023 was, if you recognize that this year and the years prior to this haven't been what you want it to be, and you're ready to draw the line in the sand and say, you know what? No, moving forward, I'm the powerful creator of my reality, and I get to choose that life is abundant and exciting and full of everything that I desire, then the Abundant AF Babe Academy was made for you. We only have less than 2 months left of 2023, and I truly believe that if you commit to the Abundant AF Babe Academy right now, 2024 and all of the years to come will be the best and most abundant that you've ever had. So if you are interested in joining the Abundant AF Babe Academy, you can click the link down below in the show notes to learn more about how to come on board and claim your spot. Spaces are now very limited, but like I said, enrollment is open until November 27th or until these spots fill. Whichever comes first is first come, first serve. So like I said, if you are interested, click the link down below in the show notes to learn more about claiming your spot inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy. But with that being said, let's dive into this 5-step process of how to understand and heal your limiting beliefs. So first things first is identifying what your limiting beliefs are. This is half the battle. Because again, a lot of the times you do not know what your limiting beliefs are because they just feel true to you. And what I want you to know about your limiting beliefs is that it is essentially any story that you tell yourself or about your life that is unsupportive. So right now, whether you have to pause this podcast episode or continue to listen to it, I want you to think about the areas of your life that you're struggling with the most. What are those areas of your life that you struggle with the most? Is it your finances? Is it your love life? Is it your career? Is it your relationship to your body? Is it how you engage with other people? Whatever it is, think about that area of your life. And then I want you to identify what is the story that you are telling yourself about this area of your life. Let's take, for example, money. And we're going to use money as the example throughout this entire thing. So perhaps you're not in the financial situation that you want to be in. And the story that you tell yourself is that there's never enough money. You're never going to be the kind of person who gets to have the kind of wealth that you desire, that money comes, but money goes just as quickly, that money is the root of all evil, that money is something that scares you and therefore you need to avoid it. Whatever it may be. What is the story that you are telling yourself about money, and does it support you? That's the important question to ask. Does this support me? Does this serve me? And if the answer is no, that means it's a limiting belief. So a few examples that I see in almost all of the people that I've worked with in some sort of capacity have been a few of these limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough. That could be I'm not good enough, smart enough, skinny enough. I'm not enough in some sort of way. I must work harder to make more money. I'm not the kind of person who gets to have things like that. No matter how hard I work, it's never enough. There's no good men or women left. If I don't do it, it will never get done. Other people's wants, needs, and opinions are more important than mine. I'm not capable of doing or having what I actually want. Work hard now so that you can enjoy your life later. So on and so forth. These are just a few examples of limiting beliefs that often we pick up on in our society because these are all social narratives that we receive. But being able to, again, identify in your life what is the story that you are telling yourself about your life, about these areas that you are not receiving the success or the fulfillment that you are wanting to see? What is the story that you are telling yourself? That is the first step. You must identify what it is that your limiting beliefs are, because we cannot change what we do not recognize or are not willing to recognize. And I'm going to say this again in a different way, make it a little bit more personal. This step has to happen first, because you cannot change what you do not or are not willing to recognize. You must be willing to recognize this in order to change it, because if you don't, it's kind of like breezing past something that is actually going to create massive issues in your life, hoping that it's not going to. It's like building the foundation of a house on a foundation that hasn't been leveled and evened out and is going to collapse once you build the house on top of it. So taking care of healing your limiting beliefs is one of the most important things that you can do to move past and start to create more supportive ones. And identifying what those limiting beliefs are is the first place that you need to start with this. And then once you've identified what your limiting beliefs are, your second step is to understand where you learned these limiting beliefs from. So once you've recognized what your limiting beliefs are, it's time to start to chip away at them one by one. And I want you to truly see it in that way of you're doing it one by one. Don't overwhelm yourself by trying to eliminate all of your limiting beliefs all at once. What I suggest is to pick the limiting belief that feels the quote unquote biggest first, because oftentimes this one limiting belief is actually the core of other limitations that you're experiencing. So the way that I like to think about this, and y'all know that I love a garden analogy, is that when you're going through and weeding a garden, oftentimes you'll get like all of these little weeds that are hanging out, but you'll have like a few major big weeds that are standing out in the garden. And when you go over to that one weed and you dig and you pull and you get it up from the ground level, it pulls up a lot of those smaller weeds that are hanging out around it. And the same is true when it comes to your limiting beliefs. So when you focus on those major limiting beliefs that you experience, then you are able to pull up a lot of the surrounding limiting beliefs that are hanging out with it. I know for me in my life, the example has been I had always had this limiting belief of being inherently flawed, that there was something inherently wrong with me. And as I've dug and worked through this limiting belief, it's naturally pulled up so many other of the limiting beliefs that I was experiencing and the limitations that I was experiencing as a byproduct of it. So like I said, do not overwhelm yourself by identifying all your limiting beliefs and then looking at the list and being like, holy fuck, I have some work to do. It's more so identifying what are the major players, what are those major ones that are creating a significant impact on your life. And once you've done that, then starting to slowly but surely chip away at where you learned these in the first place. And what I want you to know about that is that everything in your life is learned. Every single thing in your life is learned. None of the things that you are thinking about or doing you decided for yourself and you created independently. Everything is programmed, everything is learned. And this isn't about the blame game. This isn't about looking into your past and being like, oh, fuck my mom or fuck my dad or fuck whoever gave me this limiting belief. It's more so seeing this and realizing that if you had the power to learn it in the first place, then that means you have the power to unlearn it. If you had the power to take on this program and this conditioning and run with it for however many years, then you have the power to unlearn it, choose something that is more supportive, and run with that instead. So dig back into your past and understand where this comes from in the first place, because that will then help with step 3, which is using a healing modality to release the limiting beliefs. So this is where the actual healing starts to take place. And what I want to say about this is that there is no right or wrong way to heal from a limiting belief, and there is no one size fits all. And that's why inside of my program, the Abundant AF Babe Academy, I give you a massive, massive tool belt of many different ways to heal from your limiting beliefs. But for the podcast, I'm going to give you 3 different ways that you can start to experiment with healing your limiting beliefs and what works best for you. Because when you start to experiment and see what works best for you, you'll get a really good tell on whether they are helping you eliminate those limiting beliefs or if they're still standing in place and you need a different approach to be able to release it. So the first way that you can start to heal from your limiting beliefs is what is called inner child healing. So typically, like I said, subconscious mind is being formed ages 0 to 7, which means that a lot of the limiting beliefs, almost all of the limiting beliefs that you have, root back into childhood, root back into ages 0 to 7. So if you can connect to that younger version of yourself who experienced that limiting belief in the first place and take yourself back to the experience of what you were going through at that time, then you can almost reparent yourself in a way that doesn't impress this limiting belief upon you. So for example of this, again, taking the example of money, perhaps you saw your parents fighting over money growing up and you were 4, 5, 6 years old. Taking yourself back to the experience of being that 4, 5, 6-year-old, watching your parents fight over money, who probably got the impression that money equals pain, money equals fighting, money is not safe because it creates this rift between my parents, and being able to step in as this adult version of yourself and actually give your inner child what it is that they needed during that time, which was these words of affirmation or perhaps a hug, or to prove to them that money wasn't something that was bad or wrong or negative or created a rift. And instead, it's a very powerful tool that can help you create what you want moving forward. Again, it's going to be different for every single person based off of your own unique experience, but being able to go back into your inner child and connect to what is it that your inner child needed during that time will help you then shift the timeline moving forward and shift the different beliefs and embodiments that you've carried around that belief so that you can create the space to implement a new supportive belief. Second way that you can start to approach healing your limiting beliefs is through somatic healing and processing. So this is one of the most major things that we do inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy. But with all of our limiting beliefs, we also experience them on a physiological level. And you probably, maybe if you're in the world of manifestation or healing, you've heard of the book, The Body Keeps Score. But essentially, the body keeps score. The body keeps score of everything that we experience. So the limiting beliefs and the fear, the scarcity, the lack that we experience as a byproduct of that limiting belief also has a physiological toll on the body. And through somatic healing, you're able to access where you're holding on to stagnant energy inside of the body and clear that stagnant energy out of the body so that there isn't that negative connotation or that negative association that is being held onto with this limiting belief, or in a different way. And this is diving kind of deep into it. So if this doesn't make sense, that's okay. And it's also something I can explain to you inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy. But a lot of the times we actually create positive associations with our limiting beliefs because those limiting beliefs are keeping us safe in some sort of capacity. So a lot of the times this stagnant energy will be held onto inside of the body because the body and the brain is trying to use it as a protection mechanism and therefore sees it as something that is providing value. So although on a conscious level, you could look at any sort of limiting belief that you have about money, again, saying that like money equals pain. On a conscious level, you could be like, that's stupid. Of course it's not. Like, I want more money and I need more money and it's going to create so much more like beautiful opportunity in my life. If you experienced that limiting belief based off of your childhood of money equals pain, then your body is going to hold on to stagnant energy that is relating to that limiting belief of money is pain and using it as a protection mechanism and creating this positive association between the limiting belief and what you are experiencing. So therefore, somatic healing is very, very powerful to help you not only heal from your limiting beliefs on a mental level, but also on a physiological body level, because this is something I talk about all the time. And y'all, again, know that I love a garden analogy, but oftentimes just looking at the limiting beliefs is just trimming down the weeds. But if there's still roots to those limiting beliefs that are hanging out underneath the ground, which oftentimes can be that actual stagnant energy that's stuck inside of your body, then that limiting belief will continue to grow back. And like I said, this is one of the most major things that we focus on inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy, because it's really important to clear out the weed fully so that you actually have space to implement that new supportive belief. And then the third way that you can actually start to heal your limiting beliefs, and again, these are just 3 examples. There are so many different ways that you can go about this. But third example, one of my favorites, is called EFT tapping. And if you haven't heard of EFT tapping, it stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. And essentially what it is neurological acupuncture. So instead of using like the needles that you would use in actual acupuncture, it's using the tips of your fingers, and you are tapping on different acupressure points on your face and on your upper body to reset your energy centers and also change the chemistry of your brain to be able to release the stress or the harmful emotions that have been hanging out around your belief system, so that you can neutralize them and then start to implement new supportive beliefs in place and remove those ones that aren't supporting you. So this is another thing that we do inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy. Very, very powerful, and such a, in my opinion, fun way to go about healing, because a lot of the times I feel as though people have resistance to go on a manifestation journey or on a healing journey because it sounds daunting. It sounds like there is a lot of like deep, scary, emotional work that is going to be done. And while that may be true in some capacity, it doesn't have to be like that all the time and until you feel safe with it. So EFT is a really powerful way to be able to remove limiting beliefs in a way that can feel really fun. So with all of that being said, I also just want to note that when it comes to a limiting belief, oftentimes just the acknowledgement of the limiting belief and the awareness around how it's impacting your day-to-day life is enough to break free of that limiting belief and leave it behind. So do not underestimate the power of being aware and conscious of your behaviors. It goes a long way, especially when we are talking about your vibration. And like I said earlier, the reason this is so important for your vibration is because these limiting beliefs are naturally lowering your vibration or keeping you stuck where you're at right now. And when you release yourself from these limiting beliefs, you are naturally raising your vibration, which means that you're not having to do all of these weird manifestation methods or things that you see on TikTok to quote unquote raise your vibration and manifest the things that you want. You're just naturally manifesting more of those things because you don't have these limiting beliefs that are holding your vibration down. And the way that I like to see this is like, if you had a hose and you were trying to like, again, water your garden and there were kinks in the hose, there would only be a little bit of water coming out. What removing your limiting beliefs does is it unkinks the hose so that you actually have the full amount of water flowing out of that hose. So that is your step 3. Like I said, these are just 3 ways that you can start to eliminate your limiting beliefs with different healing modalities. But then step 4, once you've released these limiting beliefs, one of the most important things is creating space for the new supportive belief. And this is oftentimes missed out on and is super, super important. But when you are healing your limiting beliefs, it is so important to replace the old limiting belief with a new supportive belief. Otherwise, your brain will revert back to its default settings, which oftentimes are those unsupportive limiting beliefs, if that is what has been consuming your subconscious mind. So you're wanting to, from that space of releasing the old limiting belief and knowing that there is space for something new, then implement the new supportive belief, choosing new supportive beliefs that align with your manifestations and what you're wanting to be true in your life so that you can start to create new neural pathways that are going to naturally support that. So, for example, a few different supportive beliefs that you could implement in its place is making money is easy and fun for me. My worth and my worthiness of what I desire is never in question. I am more than capable of having, being, and doing anything and everything that I desire. Money is an overflowing constant in my life. I am constantly loved and supported by the people around me and by the universe. I trust myself and know that best case scenario is the inevitable for my life. Choosing that new supportive belief, choosing something that is going to align you with what it is that you're wanting to manifest, and really reaffirming that to yourself, making that your new baseline. That's your new seed that you are planting, again, in the garden, because once you plant that seed in the garden and you start to tend to it and water it, eventually that flower will bloom. Which leads us into step 5, which is being consistent with proving the new belief to be true. So the final step is to reaffirm this new supportive belief to your subconscious mind. And this is so important because your subconscious mind, it looks for evidence to prove what you are telling to it to be true. So if you can consciously provide as much evidence as possible to your subconscious mind, then you are actively creating new neural pathways. So for example, with this, let's say you are wanting to create a business and you've had all of these limiting beliefs surrounding business, that it's not possible for you, that you're not going to make the money, that you can't attract clients, so on and so forth. When you've been doing that, you've been providing this evidence of the fact that it's not possible for you. But after running through this process and switching the script on it and creating new supportive beliefs surrounding it, then looking for evidence within other people or looking for evidence within your own life of the fact that it's possible for you, then feeds that conscious evidence to the subconscious mind, which creates new neural pathways for the new reality to take place. And the way that I want you to think about this is like one of those old school scales with baskets on each side. It was like a pole with a basket running on each side. When you are shifting from having a limiting belief to having a new supportive belief, it's like you have all of these rocks on the basket of the limiting belief side, which is weighing it down. And you're wanting to take each one of those rocks that is on that side and stack it on the other side of supportive beliefs, supportive examples, supportive proof to really anchor in the new supportive belief. So taking each rock to the other side through your actions, through your beliefs, through creating evidence to create that new neural pathway. And the more that you can do this, the easier it will be for you to hold on to and naturally have this as your belief. And again, the stronger the new neural pathways will become, which then will ultimately help you manifest more of what you want. Because when this becomes your reality and your subconscious mind is filled with naturally supportive beliefs that are in alignment with you being the healthier, happier, wealthier version of yourself, then that means that that becomes your new baseline vibration, which will help you manifest more abundance into your life without having to do anything quote unquote extra. It becomes a natural process of attracting because your beliefs are supportive. And this is exactly what I teach you inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy. But I just want to recap on these 5 steps. So your first step is to identify what your limiting beliefs are. Second is to understand where they come from. Third is using a healing modality to release that limiting belief. Fourth is creating a new supportive belief. And fifth is being consistent with proving the new belief to be true. This is exactly what I teach you inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy, because once you can do this in your own life, like I said, you just naturally start to attract and manifest more of the things that you want. So if you are ready to let your limiting beliefs no longer be the thing that is running the show and take this conscious control of your life to manifest and create the reality that you want, then the Abundant AF Babe Academy was made for you. And you can click the link down below in the show notes to learn more about how you can claim your spot. But that is all that I have for you on today's podcast episode. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will chat with you on the next one.